You lead.
All right. Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I am Ray.
And I'm Effie,
And Evie, what are we looking at today?
Man of Steel.
That's right, starring Henry Cavill and Amy Adams. This
Mhm.
one is pretty interesting. I like it because it's a Snyder cut. It's well, that's like it's not it is Snyder's cut. Yeah, not just league. So this is Zack Snyder's vision for Superman, Man of Steel. There are things about this movie that people dislike. We'll get into that in a little second. This was an extraordinary piece because this is a retelling of Krypton. This is a retelling of the origin story. So you thinking of the Richard Donner movie, of where it came from, its origins, and so we get to see Krypton in a different light. I think we get to
Yeah.
see how like in terms of Richard Donner's version of it, we never understood, like we never saw society too much of what Kryptonian society was like, and that this one you get more of it. Russell Crowe plays his father. I
Mhm.
can't say her last name, who plays the mother, but like she was Vanessa in Daredevil, Kingpin's girlfriend
Mhm.
or wife. I don't know her name, and I apologize. But anyways, she plays um, the wife. I can't.
His mother. Oh.
His mother, yeah, and that was a beautiful piece she did. And you see the ending of well, you see Zod and Jor-El and how
Yeah.
they go along, and what took place and how basically. Okay, so what happened was the reason why. Okay, I could go talk about this. The reason why Krypton destroyed itself is because they were mining for energy. Like us today, society. Like we're caught today, we get global warming because we are burning fossil fuels and all these other things, and we're putting holes in the ozone layer. With Krypton, they've been around for millions of years, or hundreds, over a thousand. Let's say they're about another thousand years or eons longer than us humans, like we are today. So they've pretty much wasted all their resources. So they've gone out to other planets. Their sophistication has allowed them to mine elsewhere, and that kind of echoes in Krypton,
Mhm.
the series Krypton, and echoes in other
Mhm.
films and stories where there's proof that Kryptonians moved on. Even with Smallville, there are segments where there were hints that Kryptonians were out among the stars, expanding their
Mhm.
technology and their knowledge of the world, not the world, the universe as it is. But in the end, they used up all the resources, so they ended
Mhm.
up using a device called a terraforma. I think it's called a terraforma. So
Yeah, something like
like
that.
that, and they decided to drill the core of Krypton, which was nuts because once you drill the core of of the Earth, you're gonna unravel the Earth of its heat or whatever it is. So that ended up
Yeah.
basically destroying the planet. The planet was unraveling, and it basically you punched a hole in it like a balloon. Once you punch a hole in it, it's gonna explode.
Isn't it called fracking or something like that? I can't remember.
Kind of, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
basically, yeah, because like I mean, you have the heat, lava, and all that stuff in Earth. Let's say you're letting it all out. Right? You
Mhm.
can't just control that one source. You can't regulate
Right.
it. Well, there's no real means to do it without having some sort of real negative impact. So that caused the Krypton to literally explode or
Yeah.
become no longer. So they killed themselves. So that was the reason why Krypton was gone, because they thought, well, the only place left to do is get resources is to take the heat from their own planet, what
Mhm.
fuels the planet, and drill into it, and that kind of caused it to like self-destruct. So that's where we are. We also learned about this thing called a codex. We learned about um, the society is which this goes into my own personal double feature, but the society is based like angels, right?
Mhm.
They are not birthed. They are designed. They are created on the behalf to work. They are created in this thought of helping their own society become better. So when they are born, it's through artificial means, not through conception,
Mhm.
and each one is birthed with a specific code to do a specific job, like a beehive.
Mhm.
Like everyone is
Mhm.
designed to do a very specific job. One is a cleaner, one's a warrior, one is an educator, one is a doctor.
Right.
Like everyone was born with a very specific destiny, foretold destiny already, and there's no there's no like sins of the flesh. There's no touching. There's like just a society of
Mhm.
beings, right, that serve a greater purpose. So if you think of angels, they're created to help to serve God. They're not.
Mhm.
There's no original sin. So it's sort of like that. It's like the Bible, but it's in that case. Whereas in the case of Kal-El, he is the reverse. He is the first version of like man
Mhm.
on is it Eden, right? Which is what
Right.
Krypton was. So like he
Yeah.
becomes the first version of that, but the world is coming to an end. So it's like the end of Eden, which again is
Mhm.
biblical. And then he is jettisoned out to go to Earth, which is
Right.
place of man. So that in itself, on a very uh, tangential perspective, is really interesting. And then he's an outcast still. And you have Kevin Costner, who plays his Earth father, and Diane Lane as his
Mhm.
Earth mother. And there's a couple, I think, that are really, actually, I would love to see more of Kevin Costner and Diane Lane as the parents
Mhm.
in that story was, and how, even though it's tough, it kind of reminds me of Smallville. Like he has to keep his abilities secret. And it's just interesting how that kind of plays out for the first hour or first 45 minutes of the
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like Superman 2, you have Zod, who was exiled for his belief structures, a radical in the end. He gets freed and he comes to Earth, and he's looking for the last son of Krypton, Kal-El. So you get a bit of the Donner's cut. You get a bit of Superman's one and two in this movie. And that is what this movie's about. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was about different societies, what their goals are, and why they do what it kind of makes you think about what's going on and why they do what they do. Yeah, I liked this cut actually.
This is a version of Lois, who's
Mhm.
an investigative reporter who is actually from the get go searches for him, finds
Yeah,
him, and
yeah,
knows who he is. And they don't like sort of like Iron Man. He's like Iron Man. He comes out saying I'm Iron Man, so there's no
yeah.
the world knows who he is. But like
Right.
so when he becomes Clark, well, he is Clark Kent. But the distinction between Clark Kent and Superman,
Mm.
uh, what are you thinking? What Because you and I grew up on glasses, Clark Kent, Superman. She doesn't know who he is.
Right.
What's your spin? What's your take on how they deal with that in this movie? Are you,
Um, what do you mean? Like, what do I think about
yeah, because
them?
this. I mean, like if you look at the series, which whether it's the George Reeves version, the '60s version,
Yeah.
whether it's the Christopher Reeves version of it, Lois
Right.
is completely oblivious to uh, who he actually is.
Yeah. I guess
This one is
she
not.
does. Right. You're right. Why did I bring that up? You mean?
No, what's no? What are you like? What are your thoughts regarding how they like them doing that instead of following the traditional way of doing things? And then how would you, will this like where do you see this as a future thing in future episodes?
Oh, in future,
I'm assuming that you haven't seen the other movies. Like where how do you think
okay.
it's going to be?
Where do I think it's gonna be?
Yeah.
Um,
Or
well,
and
it's
do you
gonna go.
like or do you like her finding things out like early?
Um, I like her. No, I like her searching
Mhm.
about. Yeah, that's the only difference. But other than that, I like the special effects. What Kalel thinks of, and what's and yeah, searching is good.
Mhm.
So then you know what you're fighting for if you're gonna um, um, support something. Fighting is good.
Mhm.
Well, not fighting, but what like what's going on. You know, um, that is important. Not just seeking something and doing whatever. It's good to actually have a cause to fight for. You
Okay.
know, that's all. Yeah, to fight for something is good, and and yeah, support something rather than just fighting for nothing.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the whole fracking thing and supporting something. Anyway, that's all I have to say right now.
Okay, well, my take on we'll talk about Lois. My take on Lois is that I like the idea that they don't make her like clueless, and they make, because she's an investigative reporter, make her they create a character that's actually strong and intelligent and
Yeah.
above her pay grade in terms of intelligence, meaning that simple glasses and a man standing right in front of you who's the same height, same build, almost same hairstyle, day in and day out, you can't recognize who this person is. So they kind of just throw that out the window and say, here it is. Okay, so how do we proceed from there? How do we make this work and create the love story? And
Wow.
then so I just thought that was interesting. Now where they go from there, it's going to be really. I'm looking forward to seeing it in terms. Okay, you established that they both have to keep a secret now. So you have. So like, where do you? And also he's with Perry. And Perry's played by Lawrence Fishburne, and he's an extremely perceptive and smart man. So how close are they to seeing his face, as opposed to like in terms of just how it's, what are they going to do? Because they're trying to give this a very realistic feel to it. So and I don't know if Snyder's trying to, how Marvel's throwing out the idea of secret identities is not existent. Besides Spider-Man, no one has a secret identity in Marvel, really. Everyone knows who everyone is. So doing that for Superman, you kind of nullify the idea of Clark Kent, but he is Clark. So that will end our show. I am Ray.
And I'm Evie.
We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.